I've lived through a few Town Hall updates. I'm a Supercell super creator and have built a reputation for going over all things efficiency in Clash of Clans. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over my prep for both the Town Hall 18 update as well as Hammer Jam and sharing all of my secrets with you. And we're not just going to go over simple stuff like use CWL medals for builder potions, but other stuff as well, like should you spend gems buying potions or the goblin builder. And luckily now is the perfect time for you to implement all of these tips because you are going to be just in time for Hammer Jam. So if there's anything to be done or analyzed or calculated, I'm doing it in this video, and I hope that by the end of it, at least everybody who watches benefits a little bit. Before we start, a brief disclaimer. I am an official Supercell super creator, so that means I do get early information about updates to make content for all of you. That being said, nothing in this video is based on any early information from Supercell. It is all based on my past experience over the years as well as experience from advising thousands of players. Now, the first thing we need to talk about is the timing of both Hammer Jam as well as the Town Hall 18 update. As most of you probably already know, we are getting the ranked update in early October around the time of this season's ending. And I'm super excited for that, but I don't think that's the time we're going to be getting Town Hall 18 and Hammer Jam, and there's a few reasons for that. First off, we're on a 12-month cycle right now, and we have been for the last 2 years. Town Hall 15 came out in October of 2022, 16 came out in December of 2023, and 17 came out in November of 2024. So it's pretty reasonable to assume that Town Hall 18 is going to come out in November or December, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to get it in November for two main reasons. First off, the Clash of Clans World Championship is going to be in DreamHack Atlanta this year, and I know this because I'm actually going to be attending it myself, so if any of you are there, do let me know, we should meet up. But this is the perfect opportunity for them to announce something like Hammer Jam, and they've used this event before to announce Hammer Jam, so that is something that could happen. Now, because this competition happens in late October, even going into November, then it makes sense that if we did get an announcement at that time, we would be looking at Hammer Jam in early November. The second piece of evidence that we had is that temporary defenses and their temporary season were extended until November 16th. These defenses are supposed to be around until we have a brand new season of temporary defenses, and with Town Hall 18 being so close, it just kind of makes sense to release it with Town Hall 18's update. So it is my guess, based on all of this information, that we are going to get Town Hall 18 in the middle of November and then Hammer Jam in early November. Okay, so that's enough for the timing of the update, but what's going to be the different aspects of the update and how can we maximize it? To start off, I want to speak really briefly on time reductions and at what town halls I would expect the time reductions to come in. Currently, Town Hall 16 has gotten some pretty insane time reductions within the past year, so much so that it's not even worth using magic items at that town hall anymore. Because of that, I would expect minimal changes at Town Hall 16. I wouldn't expect them to slash the time to max at 16 by about half or so, because they literally already did that. But the time reductions have to go somewhere, right? Because we can't just add a bunch of new stuff and not reduce time. So I think naturally the time reductions would fall in Town Hall 17, and I think we're gonna get some pretty severe ones. And it's also very possible that we don't get all of the time reductions right now. Traditionally, we get a few buildings at a time for each town hall level, so they might just opt to do some of the reductions later on. Now, this doesn't mean that the lower town hall levels are not going to get any time reductions. I just don't expect them to be as crazy as the time reductions that are going to come, in my opinion, for Town Hall 17. But of course, you know, I could be wrong, and you know, for a lot of you, I know you probably are hoping that I am, and if I am, I'm just happy for everybody else. By the way, if you guys are liking the video and the analysis so far, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. With that key information out of the way, we can go ahead and talk about how to maximize Hammer Jam. Now, considering that we get the same Hammer Jam that we did last year, which of course I can't confirm at this moment, but it went really well, so I'm hoping we do. One of the most broken things you can do is use builder potions to increase your efficiency. And builder potions are so broken during Hammer Jam that they're actually better than magic items for 15 or 16 day upgrades. Here's why. Considering a single book can get you a 16 day day upgrade, you can get 385 hours with a single book. Builder potions, on the other hand, get you 9 hours of boosted time per builder. This is because even though it makes things 10 times faster, it still takes up the 1 hour that it's going to be running, so you get 9 additional hours. If you have 6 builders in your base, this is 54 hours per every builder potion. However, during Hammer Jam, you get double value, so you get 108 hours since everything is half the time. This doesn't really benefit the books, right? Because books are just like a complete upgrade, so it doesn't matter that the upgrades are all shorter. The books are going to give you the same value that they always have. Now you could buy a single builder potion for 30 CWL medals, and when you normalize this to the price of something like a hammer, you get 4 builder potions. Now if we take the 108 hours during Hammer Jam and we multiply it by 4, we get 432 hours. And 432 hours is more than the magic item on a 16-day upgrade, which gives you only 384 hours. On top of this, you can utilize the builder potion to speed up some of your hero upgrade time as well, and you cannot do this with any of the other books. And this is 100% the move. You know, you should definitely be using your CWL medals to buy builder potions and then using them when your heroes are upgrading. For players who are under Town Hall 16, you might not have another opportunity to get value like this for months if you're a rusher, or even years if you're a maxer. And even if you only have 5 builders, you still get 360 hours when we normalize the price of builder potions to those hammers, so it's 100% worth you doing no matter what. And conveniently, there's no limit to how many builder potions that you can buy outside of how many CWL medals that you have. That being said, there is a caveat that I have to mention when it comes to buying builder potions for CWL medals. Now if you're a player like me and your main account is already flaunting an excessive amount of builder potions, you're a Town Hall 17 player, then I would actually wait to cash out on builder potions. Because one thing you're going to realize is that you're going to quickly run out of upgrades to do if you're far along enough in your account like I am. And this is a problem, right? Because we're waiting for Town Hall 18 to come out, and when Town Hall 18 comes out and Hammer Jam is over, automatically builder potions are a lot less valuable. At that point, you would much rather have hammers for those immediate upgrades. Thus, if you're a Town Hall 17 or a mid to late Town Hall 17, try to do the math and figure out how many builder potions you really need, and then after that, try to save up for some hammers for the Town Hall 18 update. Okay, so now you guys know that builder potions are super efficient. You should be using your CWL medals to buy them, and there are certain conditions where you shouldn't be using your CWL medals. The question becomes, should you be getting builder potions from other means? Primarily, should you buy the 3 builder potions for 285 gems in the shop? And I've done all the math on what the best ways to spend gems on for either when you're in Hammer Jam or leading up to Hammer Jam, so that you can become really efficient. But before we talk about that, I really want to go over a few more key concepts. One of those key concepts is how research potions fit into Hammer Jam and how you can utilize them to actually be more efficient. Now, normally research potions are going to give you a 23-hour skip, and this is for the same reason as builder potions. They do take up that 1 hour that they are running. During Hammer Jam, once again, upgrade times are halved, so you essentially get double value, so you'll get 46 hours out of every research potion. Now, this is really nice, but it doesn't come close to the hammer value that we get with builder potion. Each research potion is 20 CWL medals, so we need 6 of them to normalize to a single hammer. 46 times 6 is 276, which is some awesome value, but it's still not comparable to the 384 hours you skip with a 16-day magic item. And considering that you can just consistently just buy more and more builder potions during Hammer Jam, I think that you should just do that because it's more efficient. Now, this isn't saying that research potions are bad. I mean, there are some places where I would recommend that you do get research potions. One of those places is the Raid Metal Shop, where you can buy up to 3 research potions per week. Now, I will leave this up to you as a player, because if you're struggling with starry ores and you're trying to get some more, you could be using your raid medals to get the starry ores. But let's do the math to make sure that we're on the right track. You can get 5 starry ores for 350 raid medals and a single research potion for 200 raid medals. If we normalize normalize the price to 350 raid medals, we get 1.75 research potions, which is 80.5 hours of time. Now the thing is, measuring the time it takes you to get 5 starry ores is kind of hard, right? Because it really depends on the town hall level that you're at and whether or not you're warring frequently and, you know, attacking in your wars. But if you do both your attacks in war, for most town hall levels, this could save you like maybe a day or two of starry ore farming. And 80 hours is over 3 days of time, so I think it's actually better for you to get the research potions just when it comes down to the math. That being said, you know, I'm not dumb. I know that ore is a super limiting factor in the game right now, so I will leave it 100% up to you. Now of note, you know, research potions are also available for gems in the gem shop, so this is another thing that we should consider when we're thinking about how to use our gems efficiently. So let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. How should you be spending your gems either right now or when Hammer Jam starts? The viable methods of using gems during this event is either buying builder potions, buying research potions, upgrading your helpers, or investing in the goblin builder or goblin researcher if they are available. I think the most effective way to look at this is to look at how many hours you get per each gem that you spend during Hammer Jam. Let's consider builder potions first. For the price of 285 gems, you get 108 hours of time skipped during Hammer Jam. If we do some quick math in my chart right here, that gets us to 0.38 hours per gem spent. Not bad at all, but let's take a look at how the research potions do in this same regard. For the price of 120 gems, you could get 1 research potion, which during Hammer Jam will give you 46 hours of time skipped. If we also do the same math, we can see that we also get 0.38 hours per gem spent. Crazy, because it's almost like Supercell has already done the math, you know. I don't know, I really don't, but yeah. Now the next thing you can spend your gems on is the helpers, and obviously this is a little bit harder to track because these are permanent upgrades. However, I know a lot of you are looking at Hammer Jam specifically and trying to get a lot of value during that time period. So assuming that Hammer Jam lasts 14 days, how much value can we get if we use the cheapest upgrade cost for the helpers, which is 500 gems? For the price of 500 gems, you'll get 29.22 days for each because the cooldown is actually 23 hours and you effectively get 2 hours from using the helpers, and this leads us to 0.06 hours per gem spent. Now obviously this is the worst of all of the options, I'll tell you that right now, but it is a long-term investment, so this makes sense. Regardless, I wouldn't recommend spending your gems this way during Hammer Jam. Next up, we have to consider one of the most hated characters in Clash of Clans history, which is the Goblin Builder and the Goblin Researcher, and whether or not this stacks up compared to the other options. Now normally the Goblin Builder and Researcher will cost you 40 gems per day or 40 gems per 24 hours. But because upgrades are halved, again, you technically get 48 hours for every 40 gems you spend. And if we do the math for this, you guys can see that we get a blistering 1.2 hours for every single gem that you spend. This blows everything else out of the water and is undoubtedly the best way to spend gems during Hammer Jam. Now, a lot of you already know that you can benefit even more from builder potions and research potions when we use the Goblin Builder and our Researcher with them. And the effect only gets marginally better for builder potions, but it gets significantly better for the research potions because you can normally only do 1 research at a time. So now the question is like, what's the deal? Should you be spending some of your gems, you know, hiring the Goblin Builder and Researcher, and then other gems getting builder potions and then using it at the same time, or should you just do something separately? What I would recommend is to just buy the Goblin Builder and Researcher with your gems and only use your gems that way. Look, first off, if you have the Goblin Builder and Researcher both active for an entire 14 days without accelerators, it'll cost you 1,120 gems. But obviously, since you're trying to be more efficient, you're going to be using builder potions and research potions, so you're going to need a lot more gems than 1,120 to keep it working the entire time. And most players don't have 2 to 3 to 4,000 gems just lying around just waiting to be used. So I would recommend that you just put all of your gems into the Goblin Builder and Researcher because this will give you guaranteed good value. Now, I did mention previously that helpers are not worth upgrading for Hammer Gem specifically, but if you have levels on the helpers already, they can help quite a bit. The best way to use your Builder's Apprentice in particular is on hero upgrades, because it'll save you even more hero upgrade time and thus allow you to use your heroes more in general. But do keep in mind that you're going to need quite a bit of Dark Elixir to keep all of your heroes upgrading all the time. Now, obviously, if you have a research upgrade going, you can use the lab assistant on that research upgrade, but my biggest tip is to make sure that your helpers are assigned to buildings until they're done, because that's going to ensure that they get activated on time. But yeah, you know, in general, just make sure that you use your helpers if you do have them, because they're gonna technically get double value during Hammer Jam. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the Gold Pass and how it affects practically everything I've talked about already in this video. Classically, the Gold Pass will give you 20% reduction that we all love. However, during Hammer Jam, it would be broken if we get the 70% reduction, but we don't. We only get a 60% reduction. This is because it's multiplicative, meaning that we get 50% and then 20% of 50%, which ends up being the 60%. Basically, it just doesn't stack. That 60% discount though is no joke. It just makes everything so much more efficient. For example, we've already talked about builder potions during Hammer Jam giving you 104 hours of value. However, if you have the 60% reduction, you won't get 104, you'll get all the way up to 135 hours of value. And this is the same across the board. The Gold Pass will just make every accelerator a lot better, whether that's builder potions, research potions, goblin builder, goblin researcher, or the helpers. So I'm not going to redo all the math again, but I will tell you that getting the Gold Pass during this month could be one of the best things that you do, not only for that 60% time reduction, but the fact that you also get some additional magic items. If you do end up getting the Gold Pass, consider using code BD. It really helps us make a lot of good content for all of you, and I really appreciate it. Next up, I want to talk about some extra efficiency tips, as well as how you can use other magic items to go ahead and get some more value. The first one that I want to talk about is wall rings. If I remember correctly, wall ring prices were also halved last year, and if that's the case, you would get double value out of your wall rings, so I would save up as many as you humanly can. It's definitely not worth buying them from the raid metal shop or from the normal shop or anything like that. It's just more of, if you have them, you might as well use them during Hammer Jam. Last year, we also had resource collectors boosted by 3 times, which is really nice. And theoretically, you could use a resource potion, which is generally not that useful to get a ton of resources normally. But like I said, I don't have the dev build. I don't have info on all of this, so I don't know whether or not we're gonna get that, you know, mythical like 6 times boost to resources. It's hard to tell. Also, there's a question of whether or not we will get pet time reductions and cost reductions during Hammer Jam. And if we do end up getting those, you could get some really good value from the pet potion. In fact, you'd be getting pretty similar value between the pet potion as well as the research potion. You can only do 1 upgrade in each. And a final note on other magic items, I just want to touch really briefly on books and hammers. Now, using books and hammers isn't going to get less value. They're just going to get the same value that they always have, because the time reduction, you know, it doesn't affect whether or not the book is going to work to complete that upgrade. That being said, if we do end up getting a lot of time reductions for Town Hall 18 and its update, I would recommend holding some of those books just to see if you can get some better value or not lose a lot of value when the reductions come in. Next up, for my spenders, I want to talk about how you can spend your money smart to prepare for both Hammer Jam as well as the Town Hall 18 update. First, let's go ahead and talk about builder potions from the shop and at what price you should buy them at. We've already talked about how builder potions are practically as valuable or more valuable than books and hammers during Hammer Jam. Generally, when it comes to buying books from the shop, I recommend that players buy them for about $5 or less. There's 2 reasons for this. The first one is that you could just buy 500 gems for $5 and then buy a book of heroes. And another is that in my experience of analyzing literally hundreds of deals, I find that this limit of $5 will actually get you the better deals while not making you buy everything. If we look at the amount of hours that we can save from a book that is used for a 16-day upgrade, we could get the exact same value from a builder potion if we spend about $1.40 per builder potion. potion. So this means that as long as every builder potion that you're buying is $1.40 or less, you are good to buy it. You're getting good value. But please note that this standard only really applies during Hammer Jam and as you're prepping for Hammer Jam. This is important for you guys to know now because you can start buying builder potions and stacking them on your main account, as I have done in the background right here. If we do the same math and we're trying to get as good value out of research potions as we get from books when it comes to us buying books and things like that, you need to buy them at 60 cents or cheaper. Same rules apply. You can stack those if you have a lot of research upgrades to do when Hammer Jam comes around. And overall, when it comes to prepping for Hammer Jam, honestly, I would just leave it at buying the builder potions and the research potions. If you're a lower town hall, it's not really worth you buying the books anyways. If you're a town hall 17, however, and you're prepping for town hall 18, it definitely is worth you getting some books. So here's the deal. If things happen the way we're expecting, I would recommend starting to buy books in October. This is because if the update drops in mid-November and let's say you have the gold pass, you can wait till the update drops and then have the entire second half of the month to use your magic items. And just to note that if you're going to buy books in October, make sure you use your gold pass items early in October so that you give yourself more time to stack those books without having to waste one from the gold pass. When it comes to stacking books, the number one book you can always stack is the Book of Everything. In fact, I would go as far as to say if you can cop Books of Everything right now, that would be an awesome deal. This is because you don't get Books of Everything from the gold pass and it's really rare to get them from monthly events, and as such you're not forced to use one early, so you can start stacking right now. As you guys can see in my account, I've already got a few Books of Everything and I'm planning to get a few more in the months to come. Now if you're new to buying deals in Clash of Clans and you don't know what deals are good or bad, you can always check out my community tab. I literally do deals analysis every single time there's new deals in the shop so that you guys know exactly what's good to buy and what isn't. And of course, if you guys do end up buying anything from the shop, do consider using code BD. It really does help out. I have some last minute tips when it comes to preparing for my Town Hall 17s that are getting ready for Town Hall 18. For my free to play players, you guys really need to have a stack of magic items, preferably one of everything, going into Town Hall 18. This is particularly true because if you don't have those upgrades like I mentioned earlier to get done with builder potions, you don't want to spend all your CWL medals buying them. This way you can buy some hammers and then just leave them in your inventory, so when Town Hall 18 drops, you can immediately get some upgrades done and buy more hammers. Now if you want to upgrade to Town Hall 18 on day one, which is what I'm assuming a lot of players want to do, then you need to make sure you have some core upgrades done. This includes all of your offensive upgrades, including everything that gives you any sort of power or army space or even storage space in some cases. On top of this, I would recommend having the core defenses done as well, because this will allow you to not only have a strong defense, but to immediately get good magic item value the moment you get to Town Hall 18. I would also advise you to utilize Hammer Jam to max those walls. If there's definitely any level that walls are going to be tough to max, it is the highest levels of the game. Especially considering that hopefully when Hammer Jam comes around, we will have the brand new battle mode, so even if you're up in Legends League, you'll be able to farm freely. And last but not least, for my Town Hall 17s, if your heroes are lagging, now is the time to catch them up. You definitely want to catch them up before 18 comes along and then you fall behind a lot. Now this has been a long video and I pretty much hit everything there is to cover when it comes to update prep, and if there's anything I'm missing, I will pin a comment in the comment section down below. And look, if you enjoyed this video, you probably care a lot about efficiency, and if that's the case, you need to know how to use your magic items properly. That's why you need to watch this video right here where I rank every magic item in Clash of Clans and tell you which ones are good, which ones aren't, and why.